Today we are going to be going over lesson 5.3, which is writing fractions and decimals as percents. Our objective will be that you will write fractions and decimals as percents by first writing an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100 or by multiplying by 100 to move the decimal point. So we're going to talk about this Unlock the Problem. During the 2008-2009 season of the National Basketball Association, or NBA, the Phoenix Suns won about 11/20ths of their games, and Miami Heat won about 524 thousandths of their games. Which team was more successful during the season? Over here, it helps us out telling us that we need to underline the sentence that tells you what you are trying to find. If we look right here at the question, it says, which team was more successful during the season? So that's how we know what we're trying to figure out. Then it says we need to circle the numbers you need to use. I think that 11/20ths, 524 thousandths, those would both be pretty important because we're trying to compare those two teams and how many games they won. Part A is to write the fraction, to compare the season performances of the Sun and the Heat, it is helpful to write fractions and decimals as a percent. So then we know what percent of the games that they won. So part A is to write the fraction or decimal as a percent. We have 11/20ths. So we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same value to write an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So if we take 11 multiplied by 5 and 20 multiplied by 5, which the reason we used 5 is because I know that 20 times what gives me 100, 20 times 5 will give me 100. So then 11 times 5 was 55. So a percent is a ratio comparing a number to 100. We talked about that in lesson 5.1 and 5.2. So we're going to write the ratio as a percent because that will help me compare the two numbers. So then if we write the ratio, which is right here, 55/100 is our ratio, to write that as a percent, using the information we know that a percent is a ratio comparing a number to 100, then we know that it is equal to 55%. So the percent of games won by the Phoenix Sun is 55%. Do not forget those labels. Okay, so let's look at B, which is the Miami Heat. To write a percent as a decimal, we're going to divide by 100. To write a decimal as a percent, if we're going to divide to find the other way, then that would mean that we would multiply. By 100. To multiply by 100, we simply move the decimal point 2 places to the, look over here at this figure, it shows us that we're moving it to the right. So that means that 524 thousandths now becomes 52. And for tenths, there's only one place value, so that's tenths. So the percentage of games won by Miami Heat is 52.4%. Again, don't forget that label. Because they won a greater percentage of their games, which team were more successful? If we look over here, which one is greater? Either 55% or 52.4%. So 55% is higher, which means the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns were more successful during the 2008-2009 season. All right, let's look at this example. We're going to write 0.7 as a fraction and as a percent. So 0.7 means 7/10. So we're going to write 7/10 as a fraction. Well, 7/10 means 7 out of 10. So it would be 7 over 10. To write a percent, first write an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. Again, we're going to compare all percents are compared to 100. They're a ratio of 100. So to get that to be 100, we need to make the denominator 100. So 10 times 10 gives us 100. So that means we also have to multiply the numerator by the same thing. So it'd be 7 times 10, which 7 times 10 gives us 70. 70 over 100. And to write the ratio of 70 to 100 as a percent is going to give us 70%. So 7/10 written as a fraction is 7/10, and 7/10 written as a percent is 70%. And let's look at B, which says write 3/40 as a decimal and as a percent. Since 40 is not a factor of 100, it is more difficult to find an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So instead, we're going to use division to write 3/40 as a decimal. So to write 3/40 as a decimal, we simply divide 3 by 40. And so 40 does not go into 3 evenly, so a 0, carry it down, so we're working with 30. 40 does still not go into 30 evenly and friendly, so we're going to, again, say it goes in 0 times. We're going to look at the next place value, which is 300. 40 can go into 300 7 times, which gives us 280. Subtract 0 minus 0, 0. We're going to have to borrow 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down that other 0. 200 minus 200 is 0. Oh, sorry. 40 goes into 200 5 times, which is 200. So 200 minus 200 is 0. So to write a decimal as a percent, we talked about how we need to multiply by 100. So we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right to turn that decimal into a percent. So 75 thousandths turns into 7.5 or 7.5%. So 3/40 written as a decimal is 0 and 75 thousandths, and 3/40 written as a percent is 7.5%.